Can you believe that something as simple and familiar as a piece of fish at the dinner table could slowly chip away at your memory, cause your hands to tremble, or make you forget your own grandchild's name, and you wouldn't even know why? I've seen this scene more times than I can count during house calls to older patients, a cozy family dinner, the smell of grilled fish fills the room, lemon slices arranged just right, and the sound of grandkids laughing in the background. Then, the grandfather gently reaches out with a trembling hand, smiles, and says, "Doc, I eat fish every week. It's good for my heart, good for my brain, right?" I smiled, but deep inside, my heart sank. Not because he was wrong, but because so many people like him are unknowingly choosing the wrong kind of fish, the kinds that look healthy on the surface but silently wear down the body from within. You see, after age 60, everything changes. Your liver and kidneys don't detox the way they used to, your immune system weakens, and that means, what you eat today, no matter how small, could become tomorrow's poison. Even if it's just one piece of fish. In this video, as a doctor who's spent over 30 years studying aging and nutrition, I'm going to walk you through 7 types of fish that seniors should absolutely avoid, at all costs. Some of them are probably in your freezer right now. Others show up on fancy restaurant menus, backyard BBQs, or even in doctor-recommended diets of the past, but modern science now tells a different story. I'll share real medical research, patient stories from my own experience, and more importantly, healthier, safer, equally delicious alternatives. You don't have to give up fish, you just need to choose the right ones, because the difference between a fish that fuels your brain and one that damages it, could be nothing more than a small name on a food label. Let's go through the 7 fish you need to avoid, not to scare you, but to help you feel empowered, informed, and in control of your health and the people you love. If you're watching this because you care about your own health, or someone you love who's over 60, please comment below. Memo: I'm ready to make better choices for the people I love. I read every comment, and I want you to know, you're not alone on this journey. Fish number 1, king mackerel. When traditional flavor becomes a silent threat, I'll never forget Mr. Walter, a patient I had the privilege of caring for over 12 years. He was the kind of man everyone in the neighborhood loved, tall and lean, white hair, a deep gentle voice, and the best fish griller on the block. Every Sunday, his backyard came alive. The grill sizzled with thick slices of king mackerel, marinated with lemon, cracked pepper, and thyme, golden from the flames. He once chuckled and told me, "Doc, I switched from beef to fish. Much healthier, right? King mackerel's loaded with omega-3s, great for the heart and brain." I nodded with a smile. But inside, I wasn't so sure. When Mr. Walter turned 72, I started noticing subtle changes. He struggled to remember his grandkids' names, his hand trembled slightly when reaching for his morning coffee, he'd get dizzy walking just 1 block, even though he used to jog. His family brushed it off. "He's just getting older," document, but I saw the early red flags, signs of neurological toxicity. And I suspected the beloved king mackerel he enjoyed every weekend might be the hidden culprit. King mackerel is one of the most mercury-contaminated fish commonly found in grocery stores and seafood counters. Why? It's a long-living predator fish. It eats smaller fish daily. Mercury accumulates over time. By the time it reaches your plate, it's already a toxin reservoir. Now here's the issue for seniors. As we age, our liver and kidneys slow down. They don't flush out heavy metals like they used to. That mercury, it stays in your system, day after day, meal after meal. Pushpin. According to the US FDA and EPA, 2022, king mackerel is in the do not eat category for pregnant women and older adults at risk of neurological damage. Warning: what mercury does to seniors. This isn't just about general toxicity. Mercury affects 3 critical systems in aging bodies: nervous system, memory loss, trouble concentrating, hand tremors. Increased risk of dementia and cognitive decline, cardiovascular system, irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure, greater risk of heart failure, especially if you're already on heart meds, liver kidneys, reduced detox efficiency, chronic fatigue, higher risk of liver inflammation and kidney dysfunction. The common confusion, Atlantic versus king mackerel. So many patients confuse these two. Fish type: mercury level safe for seniors. King mackerel extremely high, crossmark no, avoid. Atlantic mackerel low nutritious, white heavy, checkmark yes. 2-3x/week. Pushpin source: U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Advice about eating fish, 2022. Bowl with spoon: smarter swaps for the same flavor, if you love the rich, oily taste of king mackerel. Don't worry, there are better, safer choices. Wild-caught salmon, loaded with omega-3s, low in mercury, brain, and heart-friendly. Sardines, tiny, affordable, calcium-rich, and nearly toxin-free. Atlantic mackerel, still flavorful but much cleaner and safer. Speech balloon: what I always tell my patients, fish can be medicine. But the wrong fish, especially after 60, can quietly become poison on your plate. Mr. Walter made the switch. He replaced king mackerel with wild salmon and sardines. A few months later, his hand steadied, he remembered appointments better, and he smiled one day and told me, all I did was change the fish document and my whole body feels lighter. Just one small change. One quiet shift in your weekly grocery list, and it could completely change how you feel in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Ready for the next one? Let's talk about a white, flaky fish that looks gentle, but holds even more mercury than king mackerel, especially dangerous when it's hiding under fancy restaurant names. Backhand index pointing right. Coming up, fish number 2, tilefish. Fish number 2, tilefish, the innocent white fish that's quietly damaging your brain. Mrs. Linda was one of those patients I treated like family. At 67, she had just retired and started a lovely tradition with her husband: Friday dinner at their favorite local restaurant. A simple joy, but one that brought her a lot of happiness. One day during a checkup, she told me, "Dr. Miller, I always go for the white fish. It's light, easy to digest, and I feel good after eating it. The catch of the day, grilled with lemon butter, it just feels clean." I nodded. Then gently asked, "Do you know what kind of fish it is?" She laughed and said, "Oh, I have no idea, just says white fish on the menu." And that's when my heart sank a little, because chances are that white fish was tilefish, one of the highest mercury fish ever recorded by the FDA. Tilefish, especially those caught in the Gulf of Mexico, are mercury hotspots. Pushpin: according to the EPA, 2021, tilefish from that region can contain up to 3.73 parts per million of mercury. That's over 10 times the safe level for older adults. Why? Tilefish live a very long life. Up to 35 years, they're predators, eating smaller fish that already carry mercury. Over time, the mercury builds up in their fat, skin, and organs. If you're over 60, your immune system is weaker, and your brain is more sensitive. Even small amounts of mercury, when eaten regularly, can build up silently over time, like a slow-moving storm. The symptoms I've seen in many of my patients: long-term insomnia, even with herbal support, forgetting names or misplacing things often, tingling in fingers and toes, lingering anxiety or shakiness under stress. Pushpin: and here's the worst part, most people think it's just aging, but often, it's mercury toxicity in disguise. A 2020 study published in Environmental Research confirmed, even low-dose, chronic mercury exposure can cause cognitive and emotional changes, especially in adults over 60. Wang et al., Environmental Research, Volume 185, 2020. After a few basic tests and a nutritional review, I advised her to stop ordering catch of the day unless the fish type was clearly listed. Instead, she started choosing steamed cod or grilled haddock with vegetables. 2 months later, she returned with a smile, "I'm sleeping better. I can focus on my reading. That weird fog I felt every morning, it's gone." Most restaurants don't name tilefish on the menu. Instead, They use vague descriptions like white fish of the day, mild, flaky grilled fish, fresh catch, chef's choice, so people believe they're eating something light and healthy, when in reality, they could be consuming hundreds of micrograms of mercury every month. White heavy checkmark safer alternatives to tilefish. If you enjoy soft, mild-tasting white fish, here are safer swaps. Dangerous fish safer option. Why it's better. Tilefish cod high in protein, very low mercury. Haddock flaky, gentle on the stomach. Pollock affordable, widely available, mercury safe. Pushpin. According to the FDA, 2022, these fish contain less than 0.1 ppm of mercury and are considered safe for seniors up to 2 to 3 times per week. Speech balloon. My personal reminder to family and patients, after 60, every bite you take isn't just fueling your body, it's feeding your memory, your clarity, and your ability to stay independent. Tilefish isn't something you eat every day, but it often sneaks onto your plate during celebrations, dinner parties, or fine dining experiences, so never feel awkward asking your waiter, what kind of white fish is this? That one simple question could protect your memory, your nervous system, and your peace of mind. Up next, let's move on to fish number 3, swordfish. It sounds premium, elegant, sophisticated, but beneath the luxury, lies a hidden danger that's quietly breaking down aging hearts and brains, bite by bite. Fish number 3, swordfish, a luxury treat that quietly destroys senior health. I still remember the call that evening. It was Michelle, the daughter of my longtime patient, Mr. Thomas, 68 years old, retired engineer, once sharp as a tack. Her voice was trembling. Dr. Miller, my dad's been a little off lately. He couldn't sleep. He was confused this morning. He grabbed a knife thinking it was a spoon and cut himself slicing a melon. I'm worried. Now, Mr. Thomas had always been careful, disciplined, organized. A man who did everything by the book, including his diet. He avoided red meat, he walked every morning, and whenever the family went to a nice restaurant or traveled by the sea, he'd order his favorite, grilled swordfish. A treat, he told me once, pricey, but packed with protein. Good for me, right? He didn't eat it often, but the damage wasn't about how often he ate it, that it was about when he ate it, at a time when his body was becoming more vulnerable with age. Swordfish is a predator fish that lives for 10 to 15 years, eats large amounts of smaller fish, builds up high levels of mercury through a process called biomagnification. Pushpin. According to FDA, 2022. And Environmental Health Perspectives, Mahaffey et al., 2021, swordfish often contains methylmercury levels between 1.0 to 1.6 ppm, far above the safety threshold for older adults. Warning: how swordfish affects aging bodies. If you're over 60, swordfish can quietly damage 3 critical systems: brain, central nervous system, memory lapses, confusion about everyday objects, slowed reflexes, hand tremors, emotional changes, irritability or subtle depression, red heart. Cardiovascular system, disrupts blood vessel function, raises risk of atherosclerosis, increases chances of heart attack, DNA. Renal, kidney, function, strains detox pathways, elevates uric acid, worsens fatigue, fluid retention, and nighttime urination. Books: Grangin et al., Journal of Neurology Aging, 2020. Chronic methylmercury exposure from large predatory fish like swordfish may lead to neurobehavioral impairment and cardiovascular toxicity in older adults. Brain. Mr. Thomas's lab results told the story. We ran a mercury test. His levels were 4 times higher than recommended. He didn't eat fish every day, but swordfish, being his special treat, had built up silently, at the exact time when his body was least able to clear it. Many people think swordfish is a premium health food, thick, white meat, no tiny bones, often served in upscale restaurants, but here's the truth: the bigger the fish, the higher the mercury. Long-living fish like swordfish, shark, and big tuna rank among the most toxic for seniors. Still want something hearty and satisfying? No problem. Try these safer options. Instead of swordfish, why it's better: rainbow trout, clean, sweet flavor, short lifespan, low mercury, pollock light on the stomach, used in surimi, very safe, barramundi sustainably farmed, mild, low mercury. Pushpin University of California Nutrition Report, 2021. Rainbow trout is one of the safest fish for older adults thanks to its short lifespan and low food chain level. Nobody wants to give up the meals tied to fond memories, but if those meals are slowly trading your clarity, your strength, and your ability to live independently, then choosing something different isn't giving up, it's choosing wisely. Mr. Thomas still dines out with his family, but now he goes for grilled trout. Not as fancy, he says, but I feel sharper, more awake. And that's worth more than any menu item. So yes, elegance isn't just on the plate. True elegance is the health and peace of mind you carry home. Now get ready, because up next is fish number 4, big-eye tuna, a sushi favorite. A healthy indulgence. But behind the glossy slices of red tuna lies a double danger: toxic mercury and bacterial infections that aging immune systems simply can't fight off. Fish number 4, big-eye tuna. When fine dining turns into a hidden threat for seniors, I remember a quiet evening at a high-end sushi restaurant in the city's arts district. The lighting was soft. Jazz music played in the background. It was a birthday dinner, elegant, thoughtful, for a sweet 70-year-old grandmother. My patient, Jennifer, had brought her family to celebrate her mother's big day. No wine, no cake, she told me later. Just clean, modern, heart-healthy sushi. Right in the center of the table, arranged like a flower, were slices of deep red big-eye tuna sashimi, gleaming and fresh. The grandmother smiled and said, "Raw fish is good for the heart, right, doctor? And eating it raw keeps the nutrients in." I smiled back. But in my mind, alarms were ringing, because big-eye tuna, as beautiful and rich as it may seem, is one of the most dangerous types of fish for older adults. Big-eye tuna, also called ahi tuna, is a long-living fish, a deep-sea predator, high in mercury, and often eaten raw, which introduces bacterial risk. Backhand index pointing right, that's a double threat: methylmercury toxic to the brain and nervous system, live bacteria and parasites dangerous to weakened immune systems. Warning: why big-eye tuna is risky after 60, brain. 1. Mercury. The silent brain toxin. Big-eye tuna often contains 0.689 to 1.2 ppm of mercury, among the highest levels of any commonly eaten tuna. Health risks include memory loss, slower reaction time, mood changes, exacerbation of early-stage Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Books: Mahaffey et al., Journal of Environmental Neurology, 2020. High mercury fish consumption in older adults is strongly associated with neurobehavioral changes, even at non-acute levels. Microbe 2. Bacteria parasites, overlooked, but dangerous. When eaten raw, big-eye tuna can carry Salmonella, Listeria monocytogenes, Anisakis, a parasitic roundworm. Younger immune systems may fend off these threats, but for seniors, even a mild infection can lead to diarrhea, fever, severe dehydration, in some cases, sepsis or hospitalization. Pushpin CDC, 2022, adults over 65 are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized from Listeria infections related to raw seafood. A week after that elegant birthday dinner, Jennifer's mom was in the ER. She had prolonged diarrhea, low-grade fever, insomnia and fatigue. Tests confirmed it, Listeria infection from raw big-eye tuna, and further screening revealed elevated mercury levels, nearly 3 times the safe limit. It wasn't from eating it every day, it was from having a treat now and then. For years, light bulb: not all tuna is created equal. Here's where many people get confused. Type of tuna: mercury level safe for seniors. Big-eye tuna very high, crossmark no. Albacore, white, high warning limited, skipjack, light, low white heavy checkmark yes, 2x/week, pushpin FDA advisory, 2022, seniors should prioritize canned light tuna, skipjack, and avoid raw, large species tuna like big eye, white heavy checkmark smart alternatives for sushi lovers, love sushi or seared tuna. You still can enjoy the experience, safely, instead of big eye tuna. Why it's better, canned light tuna low mercury, affordable, convenient, cooked salmon still omega-3 rich, safe when fully cooked, cooked shrimp, crab, scallop safe, tasty, lower toxin risk, pushpin pro tip, opt for cooked sushi, like ebi, shrimp, kani, crab, or tamago, egg, instead of raw sashimi. Especially if you're 60. Taking your parents out for a nice meal is love, but helping them avoid fancy food that might harm them, that's wise love. Since that incident, Jennifer never skips the fine print on menus. It's not a big deal, she said, changing one dish gave me peace of mind. And truly, that's where real peace begins, with small, caring decisions. Now, let's move on to fish number 5, farmed salmon, a fish that seems trustworthy, affordable, even healthy, but beneath the pink flesh lie antibiotics, hormones, and hidden chemicals that quietly inflame aging bodies. Fish number 5, farmed salmon, the friendly food that's silently fueling inflammation. Mr. Henry was 71 years old when he came to me for a routine checkup. He had survived a mild stroke at 65, and ever since, he had become incredibly strict about his health. No red meat, less sugar, and doctor, I eat salmon 2 to 3 times a week. You said omega-3 is good for the heart and brain, right? He opened his fridge proudly, showing me packs of pink salmon fillets labeled imported from Norway. They're not cheap either, he smiled, but worth it for my health. I nodded gently. He was doing his best, but I also knew. Not all salmon is good salmon, especially farmed salmon from unknown sources. It can quietly undo the very health gains he was working so hard to achieve. Farmed salmon now makes up over 70% of all salmon sold globally, FAO 2022. It's everywhere, affordable, available, and often labeled as healthy. But here's what most people don't know, farmed salmon are raised in overcrowded pens in open ocean waters. Thousands of fish swim in tight, polluted conditions. Ideal for disease and parasites. To keep them alive and pretty for sale, they're fed pellet food made from processed fish meal and soy, given high doses of antibiotics to prevent disease, injected or fed synthetic color additives to make their flesh pink, because without it, the meat is actually gray. Pushpin. According to Environmental Science Technology Journal, 2020, farmed salmon contain up to 8 to 10 times more dioxins, PCBs, and hormone-disrupting chemicals than wild salmon. Warning: why farmed salmon can be harmful for people over 60. Keycap 1. Chronic inflammation. Chemicals like PCBs and dioxins store in body fat and fuel low-grade inflammation. This makes arthritis, heart disease, kidney problems, and fatigue worse over time. Keycap 2. Hormonal disruption. These compounds can disrupt estrogen and testosterone, leading to hot flashes, sleep disturbances, brain fog, osteoporosis. Especially in postmenopausal women and aging men. Keycap 3. Long-term cancer risk. Pushpin. Harvard School of Public Health, 2021. Seniors who consumed farmed salmon more than twice a week for 5 years showed a 40% higher risk of developing thyroid nodules or related cancers. When I asked Mr. Henry to do routine blood work, we noticed elevated CRP, C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation, signs of hormonal imbalance, and mild liver strain. Even though he didn't drink alcohol, we retraced his diet. The culprit, his beloved farmed salmon, eaten diligently for the sake of health, was quietly burdening his aging system. Let's clear this up. Type of salmon. Risk level. Omega-3 quality. Farmed salmon. High toxins, antibiotics, omega-3 present, but impure. Wild-caught salmon. Low, natural, clean, pure, high-quality omega-3s, white heavy checkmark smarter swaps for a safer plate. If you love the richness of salmon, you don't have to give it up, just choose better sources. Instead of farmed salmon, why it's better, wild-caught Alaskan salmon from clean waters, no chemicals or colorants. Sardines. In olive oil, small, low in toxins, rich in omega-3 and calcium, Atlantic mackerel fatty, flavorful. Safer than king mackerel. Pushpin. Look for labels like wild-caught, Alaskan or MSC certified. Marine Stewardship Council. We once believed we could manufacture everything, including health. But aging teaches us this: nature knows best. Simplicity is safety. And purity matters most. After switching to wild-caught salmon and mixing in sardines twice a week, Mr. Vin returned for follow-up. His CRP went down, sleep improved, and more than anything, he told me, I feel lighter. Not just in body, but in spirit. And that's the kind of result no label can measure. Now, let's turn to fish number 6, a type of catfish that feels warm and nostalgic, but if imported from the wrong place, may carry hidden antibiotics, banned chemicals, and gut-wrecking bacteria. Fish number 6, imported catfish, a beloved comfort food that's quietly putting seniors at risk. It was a sunny weekend afternoon when I dropped by to visit Ms. Bitch, a 65-year-old patient of mine who had just recovered from heart surgery 6 months prior. Her dining table was set with the warmth of a traditional family meal: crispy fried catfish, a bowl of sweet and sour soup, fresh herbs and dipping sauce, and the sound of grandchildren laughing in the background. She smiled at me and said, "Doctor, today we're keeping it light. No red meat. Just good old home cooking. This catfish is golden and delicious." I smiled back and asked gently, "Where did you get the fish, Mrs. Carroll?" "From the supermarket. It was on sale, frozen catfish imported from overseas. Affordable and convenient." That's when I knew there was a problem. Most frozen catfish imported to the US at low prices come from countries with loose regulations, particularly parts of Southeast Asia and China. These regions often use polluted waters, have poor farm hygiene, add banned antibiotics and chemical preservatives to keep fish fresh during long shipping. Pushpin. According to the FDA, 2023, over 30% of imported catfish from Asia tested positive for banned antibiotics such as malachite green, nitrofurans, and chloramphenicol, chemicals linked to cancer and antibiotic resistance. Warning: why this is especially dangerous for seniors. Aging bodies have weakened immune systems, and any hidden toxin or infection becomes harder to fight off. Eating contaminated catfish can lead to chronic digestive upset, persistent bloating, diarrhea, or even gastritis. Reduced effectiveness of medications, especially for blood pressure or heart, severe bacterial infections that are hard to treat, and in the worst cases, blood poisoning, sepsis, in vulnerable adults. Pushpin study, Nguyen et al., Journal of Food Safety Toxicology, 2021, residual antibiotics and industrial chemicals in imported catfish can accumulate in the liver and increase the risk of chronic inflammation and cellular damage. 2 months after that meal, Mrs. Carroll returned to my clinic. She was struggling with constant bloating, red skin rashes, and her blood pressure medication seemed less effective. Tests revealed early-stage liver inflammation, elevated inflammatory markers, and gut microbiome imbalance. All signs pointed to one likely cause: the contaminated imported catfish. Here's the hard truth. Crossmark: not all imported fish is safe. Crossmark: many shipments are randomly inspected. So dangerous batches often slip through. Crossmark: and the cheaper the fish, the higher the risk, especially when it's been frozen for long periods or sold under steep discounts. White heavy checkmark: safer, smarter alternatives for catfish lovers. You don't have to give up catfish. You just need to be picky about where it comes from. Swap this for this. Why it's safer: imported frozen catfish, US farm-raised catfish, regulated farming, clean water, no banned drugs, local tilapia or snakehead, cooked, fresh, common in traditional meals, low in toxins, small ocean fish, fully cooked, low mercury accumulation, gentle on digestion. Pushpin look for labels like USDA certified, HACCP verified, or clearly listed farm origins. Fried catfish, chili sauce, and Sunday lunch, these meals are more than food, they're memories, but even precious traditions need protection, because nostalgia should never come at the cost of your health. After switching to certified US farmed catfish, Ms. Bitch still enjoys her weekend fish fry, but now, she knows where it comes from, how it was raised, and what's at stake. It still tastes amazing, she told me, but this time, I feel peace of mind with every bite. And that peace of mind, is the true flavor of healthy aging. Now, let's move on to fish number 7, a luxurious-looking fish served in upscale restaurants. But inside, it carries a dangerous waxy compound that can paralyze your digestion and send vulnerable seniors to the ER within hours. Fish number 7, escolar, the white tuna that looks luxurious but can wreak havoc on your gut and nervous system. It was meant to be a celebration. Ms. Ellen, 66, and her husband had just marked their 40th wedding anniversary with a romantic dinner at a coastal restaurant. On the menu that evening, white tuna, pan-seared butterfish, served with white wine reduction sauce. Elegant, refined, and sophisticated, it sounded so healthy, doctor, she later told me. White tuna, rich in omega-3s, soft, buttery, no fishy smell. We thought it was the perfect choice. But just 2 hours later, the night took a terrifying turn: severe abdominal cramping, sudden oily diarrhea, chills and dizziness. Trouble standing or staying balanced. Her husband panicked and rushed her to the emergency room. The diagnosis? Escolar poisoning, a fish banned in multiple countries due to its natural toxicity. Escolar is often sold under misleading names like white tuna, butterfish, oilfish. Its meat is rich, pale, and velvety, visually appealing and indulgent in flavor. But here's the hidden truth: escolar contains a naturally occurring waxy substance called gempolotoxin, a type of indigestible oil that the human body cannot break down. Pushpin according to the Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology, 2020, even. Small servings of escolar, as little as 120 grams, can cause chyriuria, severe oily diarrhea and electrolyte imbalances lasting up to 48 hours. Especially in older adults. Warning: why this is extremely risky for people over 60, for younger people, the symptoms, though unpleasant, usually pass, but in seniors, the consequences can be dangerous or even fatal. Collision: here's what happens: rapid fluid loss, low blood pressure, increased risk of stroke, prolonged diarrhea, potassium depletion, causing arrhythmia, waxy oil in the gut, increased toxin absorption, stress on the kidneys. Pushpin case studies show that people over 60 are especially vulnerable to dehydration and organ stress from escolar ingestion. Face screaming in fear: why is this fish still being served? It's cheap, it tastes rich and luxurious, and worst of all, it's often mislabeled. Restaurants may label it as white tuna or butterfish without disclosing its true identity. Pushpin: even the FDA issued a warning about escolar as far back as 1992, yet it's still legal in the US and continues to show up on high-end menus. Back to Ms. Ellen. She only ate a small portion, but she had recently been discharged from a spinal injury, and her body was still recovering. Her dehydration spiraled quickly. Doctors said if she had arrived an hour later, she could have entered acute kidney failure. White heavy checkmark: the smart solution. Don't gamble with escolar. If a dish is labeled white tuna, butterfish, oilfish, backhand index pointing right, always ask the restaurant directly, is this escolar? If they hesitate or can't confirm, choose something else. White heavy checkmark: safe delicious alternatives. Swap escolar for why it's safer. Cooked albacore tuna: lean, lower oil, easier to digest. Mahi mahi: mild flavor, firm texture, gut friendly. Halibut: high in protein, clean and satisfying. Pushpin bonus tip: for older adults, avoid trying new and exotic fish unless you're certain of what it is, and how your body might respond. Not all expensive food is healthy, and not everything that tastes good is worth the risk. Sometimes, the smartest thing we can do for ourselves is ask one more question, change one small decision, and put our health before our taste buds. The danger of escalar lies not just in its toxicity, but in our lack of awareness, in labels that mislead, and in the illusion of luxury that hides a medical risk. Now that we've covered all 7 fish that seniors should avoid, it's time to bring it all together, and share the most important takeaway for your long-term health, memory, and well-being. Backhand index pointing right. Let's move on to the final conclusion of this powerful journey. Dear friend, we've just taken a powerful journey together, but this wasn't just about fish, this was about how to love yourself properly after the age of 60, because let's be honest, at this stage in life, you're not just eating to live, you're eating to stay sharp, to stay independent, and to live meaningfully. With every day you have left, brain a quick recap. 7 types of fish people over 60 should avoid. No. Type of fish. Main health risk. Keycap 1 king mackerel, extremely high mercury, memory loss, nerve damage. Keycap 2 tilefish, hidden neurotoxins disguised as white fish. Keycap 3 swordfish, heart strain, irreversible brain damage. Keycap 4 big-eye tuna, mercury bacteria, double risk for older adults. Keycap 5 farmed salmon, dioxins, antibiotics, chronic inflammation, hormone issues. Keycap 6 imported catfish, unregulated chemicals, antibiotics, gut damage. Keycap 7 escalar, white tuna, causes oily diarrhea, dehydration, electrolyte loss, white heavy checkmark, and instead, choose these safer, smarter options: wild-caught salmon, sardines, cod, haddock, or pollock, rainbow trout, light, skipjack. Tuna, domestically farmed fish with safety certifications, because you don't need to give up fish, you just need to know which ones truly nourish your body, and which ones slowly break it down. Speech balloon. My final doctor's advice, from 30 years of real experience: after 60, every food you choose is like a brick in the foundation of your next 20 years. One bad brick can crack the wall, but one right choice, just one, can make the whole structure stronger, clearer, and more peaceful. You may have eaten these fish for years, you may associate them with good memories, favorite recipes, or special meals, and I understand, it's hard to let go of the familiar, but true love at this age isn't about keeping old habits, it's about protecting your health, it's about walking hand in hand a little longer, it's about remembering your grandchild's birthday, it's about living one more year, not just existing, but truly living. If this video helped you, if you care about your health or someone you love who's over 60, backhand index pointing right, tap the like button. It tells YouTube this message is worth sharing. Backhand index pointing right. Leave a comment below. I'm ready to make better choices for my health. Backhand index pointing right, and follow our channel, Better Health After 50. Every week, we share Dr. Back tips, deep insights, and clear guidance to help you live longer, stronger, and more peacefully. Health isn't found in a magic pill, it lives in your daily decisions, in every small bite, every cup of water, every quiet moment of self-care. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Now take a breath, slow down, be kind to yourself, and start with the simplest choice: what's on your plate tonight? We'll see each other in the next video. Until then, stay wise, stay well, stay loved. Yellow Heart.